On the starting line from Long Beach, somewhere in China, Poway, and Madera, California, welcome to SC Fanguard.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the SC Fanguard. We are so happy to see you. My name is Mark. I marched Santa Clara from 1997 to 2001, and I played euphonium and was the Corps drum major.
And my name is not Mark. I'm John. I marched in SCV from 1979 through 1981. I played baritone.
And we have some awesome guests for you guys today. We are reviewing the 1986 Santa Clara Vanguard show, and we are going to be doing that with a couple of old friends. So this interview might get a little raucous. This review might get just a little bit out of control, and that's okay because we're here with
in a good way.
Old friends, old brothers. And first, I'd like to introduce everybody, an absolute fantastic trumpet player. You've heard his solos in some of your favorite Vanguard performances. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob James.
Howdy. How y'all doing?
Welcome, all, Bob.
Hey, my name is Bob James. I was a soprano bugle player in the 1986, 1987, and 1988 Santa Clara Vanguard.
Great years.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
It's
a pleasure to have you, Bob.
So you don't have to.
And ladies and gentlemen, one of my former bosses, when I worked for him, when he was the corps director at Esperanza, Mr. Alan Cox. Alan Cox, thank you, sir.
Hey,
for being here.
Good to see you, Alan, man. It's great to have you.
Good to see you guys. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you forever, John. My name is Alan Cox. I marched in the Corps in 85 and 86. I started out actually in the VK in 1981. Not a lot of people know that.
Wow.
I keep that a secret. And as Mark pointed out, I was a corps director of this group down here in San Diego. I did that for a few years. And then I was also a Drum Corps Pacific when that still was around. I was a judge with Drum Corps Pacific. So,
yes, ladies and gentlemen, a green shirt is in the house. Be careful. Let's watch our.
Yeah, I've got a green shirt, tonight. But it doesn't really fit anymore.
You're being a little bit modest there, Alan, because your corps that you founded and were the director of, Esperanza, was the first DCI champion corps in Southern California, San Diego, since the Kingsmen in 1972, and that's one heck of an accomplishment.
And what people don't know is actually all four of us had a connection. Bob helped found the corps and was on staff for a number of years, and actually went on the road, almost every year also. And then Mark was on teaching staff and helped out quite a bit with our drum major, who then turned around and won high drum major, I think in large part to the work you did. And then a lot of people don't know, John wrote the music, which really just some incredible stuff. So no, it was great working with you guys. It's really good to see you guys again. I haven't seen John forever. I'm glad you're not, somebody told me you were working in a wet market in China, but I didn't believe him. I didn't believe that. I didn't believe it.
My wife and I do raise chickens, though. That's no lie.
I know it's all right. Railing it, bringing it in. 1986 festive overture. Oh, I mean, we didn't have like theme shows, but this show is known as Festive Overture Show 86 Vanguard.
Yeah.
And Bob, do you want to run down and tell the audience today what we're going to see the Vanguard, what we're going to hear the Vanguard performing today?
Sure. I mean, this was the show that sort of picked up, 85 did Festive Overture. And then so we did a little bit different version in 86. We added a little more pant changes in the overall show.
Awesome.
But of course we
trick.
did the Festive Overture.
This is
magic trick we're going to see.
Yeah.
That's right. And then of course we went into Pictures at an Exhibition. And we went off of the Old Castle, one of the many movements. And then we went into Hut of the Baba Yaga. And then, of course, we did Limoges, which is sort of the village scene, the festive marketplace. And then, of course, nobody else has done it better since, the Great Gate of Kiev. Yeah. And what a push we had. That sucker was long and loud.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
And you know what? Let me interject.
Yeah, go ahead,
you mentioned, or I can't remember who said it, that, Drum corps really didn't have theme shows. We didn't have like titles of shows, but there were a few. Garfield came through with like the West Side Story, and Bridgman always seemed to have some kind of theme. And it was going on a little bit, but this was really one of the first years that a corps went out there, and you see it now. Some of the role playing and some of the body movement and everything. We did a lot of that, and it was new for us. Soprano players jazz running. That was, I remember the day Sherry came and taught us to jazz run, and we're just like,
instructor, yeah.
It was all very, Sherry.
And you're also going to see in this show all the different costumes. All the different sections had costumes. You had, we have baritones in priest and monk outfits. We have some of the baritones are in like these white silky outfits, sort of like the elite of the village. The sopranos were like the soldiers. You'll see a big yellow sash around us. And then, of course, the color guard was the lovely ladies of the village. And then the drummers were the drummers. And so everything was good.
And Bob, you said this is a unique year for the color guard in some respects.
Yeah, this was, I believe, the last year we had an all-female color guard, because in '87 we brought in the male rifles. And so I think this was the last year of the all Vanguard women. Just to let you know, it's the whole theme is here. This is Russia. The whole show is Russian, and it's supposed to be set in Kiev in some year. But also in 1986 was the Chernobyl disaster. This wound up becoming the Chernobyl tour show. And so it was all Russian, all great, vintage Vanguard here.
And
hey, before you do that, do you want to mention we're the two members of the quartet that starts the show?
We can segue into that.
Well, you guys will say that
I'll say
when it's playing.
Because we're going to talk about the play acting, and then we're going to talk about, hey, all of a sudden, these two guys here's Alan and I, along with two others.
Two other guys, names who escape me at this moment. He doesn't have a star. He was staying at somebody's house whose father complained that he was doing too much of that.
Patas.
So we started calling
Patas.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey,
give me a thumbs up if you're ready. If you're ready. All right.
Go.
Sweet. All right.
So as you can see here,
my good friend Joe Noble.
Yep, there's the big overview here. We had a bunch of play acting going on. You see the Sopranos doing military maneuvers here in the back corner, and then a bunch of the village scene going on down front, trying to paint the picture of a Russian village.
Bob and I are hiding behind the castle right now.
Yes, there's 4 Sopranos that start the show, and we're 2 of them. And then we have all these little vignettes of all the different.
Who's the smellophone?
Best of.
That's Dan DeLulo.
Dan DeLulo.
And that's Kevin Toomey. You can hear in the background playing the Nutcracker.
One of my old students from Monte Vista.
I'm pretty sure that's Kevin.
Now there's me on the right. There's Alan next to me, and there's Brad next to Alan. And not in the pictures, Rich Armstrong. Big opening.
This was always terrifying to start because I was never really sure when Tim was given the downbeat.
So you see now all of a sudden everything's coming together in the different sections. And
what
the
a
colors of the
sophisticated opening, you guys.
It took a long time to coordinate.
And there's our high budget castle behind us.
Spared no expense.
Notice the green pants on the Sopranos? They're going to disappear later.
Bob?
Hey, Bob. Ooh.
Hey.
Instead of horns down, you guys went horns up.
Yeah.
That's cool. Who's this?
That's Dan DeLulo. Nailed that solo every time for 2 years. Nailed it.
Yep.
And there I am in the center of this form. And the Sopranos just make a little Z pull.
And that trio, that was Rich, Brad, and Ernie, I think.
And then we had Louis Arena there in the costume doing the drum major bit. Here's the big straight line coming across the field.
Big straight line, you guys.
That was. Look at that. The snares intermixed with the tenor drums. That was not a common thing back then. It's like snare line, tenor line. So that was different for its time.
Bob, can you run through who the characters are again? Because I saw the tubas were dressed, the contras were dressed really funky.
Yeah, they were like the old men of the village.
Okay.
They were acting like old men who've lost their mind.
And the baritone
quick.
were
See the Sopranos
Mark,
coming across the
real
field
quick,
of the soldiers.
Listen to what goes on in the field right now. The slowdown in the pit, going in the drum solo, at the end of their feature, they slow down, right? And then the battery comes out from behind the castle. Just listen to this, and it was impossible to keep time in March.
Oh,
Slows down here.
yeah, they all the way back there. Yeah, the back hash.
Now listen to the drum line. And we're off in Timbuktu trying to keep time to this. Oh my gosh, it was difficult.
You know, the writing really helped it though, even though it was really spread.
Yeah.
Now we're in one of the
Love
first
Ralph's
drum
line.
solos.
Wow, Jim Apple.
Oh yeah.
Look at the bass drums back there doing their thing. And here
Oh,
comes
here
the
we
pant
go.
change.
Yeah.
The car wash.
Green pants, white pants.
It's
Crowd
magic.
favorite from '85, and we brought it back and made it better.
magic.
In '86. There's Alan.
What a magic
Yeah.
trick. Yeah, Vanguard.
And the maypole, little maypole going on back there.
I love me some maypole. Oh, I missed it. Oh, well.
And here's a big hit coming up here.
This is the recapitulation.
That form is clean, you guys.
There it is. Kiev, Russia, 1901.
We worked on this section to keep this tempo up right up until the retard, and then the hit. A lot.
Kiev sign.
So you know you're in Kia. How else would
Oh,
you
look,
know?
yeah, there's Bob. There's Bob right there. Iron leg lift. Woo!
Yeah.
Nice leg
Bob.
lift. Nice leg lift, Bob. Did you hear that? Dee, da, 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 and then down to nothing.
That's Tim.
Yeah, that's Tim Salzman.
Oh,
The number of times we worked on that.
Ah, great.
Yeah.
He taught me in '81, same thing.
Yeah.
And
Every note was an event for him.
and here's the benefit of the 1980s cores. Big crowds. Look at the size of that crowd at Camp Randall in
Yeah.
Wisconsin. And they were on their feet for us. So
I
now
was
we're going-
always so happy that I didn't play at the beginning of this tune, because in '85 I had to go right into Grover's Corners. I was so out of breath here. And it just gave me a chance to catch my breath. We had about a 30-second rest.
And there you can see the baritones in their monk costume.
And who's this soloist?
That's Mike from Washington.
One of the Washington guys.
Total lift.
I really enjoyed this song. One of my favorites of the show.
And flow. Nice and casual. Tough to march in.
Look at this. Look at this form. This is classic Dave Owens drill.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the balance between the linear form. You got the dancers with the swing flags going into the tight form, and then the linear guard. This is just beautiful.
I'm kind of mesmerized by these long silks right now.
Yeah.
And how everything is just so flowing. And
Yeah. It really worked well.
by the way, did you guys notice that last set looked like exactly like a goldfish? Like
We called it the
cracker
fish
that
set.
you eat? The goldfish.
Charlie would say, set it the fish.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
set
be
it the
Charlie
fish.
Anderson. Would that be
And
Chaz?
I love how
Anderson?
it's just like an amoeba right now. It's like, it's so cool.
Yeah, you can't judge it. It's great. Just
Listen-
keep intervals.
Listen to that ostinato Martha's playing all the way through it. It's that heartbeat that keeps this piece driving forward. On the timpani.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it doesn't slow down to the end of the show.
Yeah. And
Well, I
now
mean,
we're
that was
getting
a
ready for
nice-
the
a nice
terror
mood changer.
drill. And once again, we're in Kiev, so
So nice clean form here, you know?
the hut, this was 180 beats a minute. And we
Which was fast in the 80s.
back then, that was real fast. There was one day we were screaming, we wanted to take it at 200. They put Dr. Beat up to 200, and I thought we were going to die. It fell apart.
No, wait, Alan. Here,
Wow,
here comes
love
the
that
best
direction
part.
change.
Here comes our leg kick.
This
Look
is
at the leg
great.
kick.
Watch
Leg
this.
kick.
And now I think that was Bob's idea. if I remember right, you were goofing around with it, and Dave Owens went, "Let's do it."
A little bit of heaven.
That's my memory of that.
Here's our Cossacks with their big swords.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is all female color guard.
This is the soprano line there. That is just.
Here's the compression, right? What do we call this?
Yeah.
We called it depth.
Yeah, here's the death spiral unwind. Spiral unwind. Practice over and over and over.
Bob went really
And
far.
I was right. Third one in the center.
And I'm
Everybody else is
running
like
around,
running their butts off.
and I'm hitting the
Listen,
50-yard
listen.
line right now.
What sonority of that brass?
Guys.
Forgot about this one.
Now this is Limoges, sort of a pit feature with
So hard.
This is a great pit feature.
Oh yeah.
great pit. Great pit.
Dr. Bakken. Is that Sabrina back there?
Yep, that's true.
Yep.
That's yeah. Babs is in there too.
Listen to this low brass right here. Bum, 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 bum. This Accelerando was really challenging.
That's pretty straight. That's pretty straight.
Listen to this Accelerando. This was tough.
Look at those heights, right? Pre-electronics.
Yeah.
Here's Contras.
Oh, yeah.
Down on our knees, getting ready for the Great Gate of Kiev. Classic drum corps coming up.
Mr. Modest
Brad.
Mazursky.
Brad.
Can't wait.
And now we're gonna
Here it comes.
emote, role play.
Now, what's really cool about this scatter right now, see how everybody's sort of wandering around, but all of a sudden, the swarm's just going to hit for you. And I thought that was just really cool design.
It
But all of a sudden, this music is this way, it's unclear, and all of a sudden, the form just pops, and we're going into the main theme.
What was that big flag that came across the field?
Is that the
They were running all over the place. That
Okay.
wasn't the only one. Things like that. It was just chaos and freeform and everything going on.
There it is, you guys. Here comes the chills.
There's the magic trick.
Yeah.
Captain Kathy.
That's my little sister.
Here it is.
Oh, it's glorious.
Listen to that.
Better.
Yeah,
Don't take
it
the
just keeps
broom.
going.
She's going to fall.
Well, let's listen.
Right here.
Amazing.
And a little bit louder. And a little more loud.
Yeah, it gets louder.
And there you go.
Yeah, nice.
1986.
Very
band.
underrated show.
Man.
Look at that crowd on their feet, happy as can be, got their money's worth.
You know, it took me a real long time to learn to appreciate this show, because I remember very well. What people don't know, what a lot of people don't remember, is that Blue Devils did not have an undefeated year.
No.
We beat them in the first show, and then to get us back,
They just kicked
they
their
brought-
butt.
but we beat them at one show. And, you know, I mean, I remember seeing Blue Devils a little later, and it didn't, you know, you don't get to see other corps too much. And we got to see Blue Devils a little bit later on. And everybody knows that is, you know, in Blue Devil history, one of the more iconic shows. And I
Channel
remember, you know, it was my age out, and I was like, I don't think we're ever going to beat that show, because we were really doing something a little bit different. And, you know, it's funny because it took me a lot of years to really appreciate this show, for the arranging and the drill and just everything that put together. It was a vanguard, the leading edge of stuff that didn't really happen a lot. And I think in a lot of ways, you know, I don't know if anybody could beat that Blue Devil show that year. That was a, you know, an incredible show. But
I've
we
told
we
John
definitely came
I want to
close.
review that Blue Devils show on the Fanguard. That is it's one of the most iconic drum corps shows in
Oh, yeah.
history.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this show,
But you know,
and an
this year-
all-star group.
John
all-star
just
group in
said
that
it
show.
though. This is one of the more underrated shows in Vanguard history. I think
Maybe.
this show often gets overlooked because, and I mean, we just did the big 1987 show, right? But it's
We
almost
did.
like 1989 because 1989 doesn't happen without working all that stuff out in 88, as Bob well knows. And what I am learning right now is that 87 does not happen without this show because they worked out so much of
Yeah.
the cool stuff and kept all the very best stuff and put it in an 87 show. So yeah, this show is definitely underrated. I mean, people need to take another look at 86 Vanguard. I mean, it's pretty cool. It is cutting edge.
I mean,
Talk more about that, Bob.
competitively, we only took second to the Blue Devils. Every other show was first place.
Yeah.
And so we had 27 shows this year. We were DCI South champions. We were U.S. Open champions this year, and had a great competitive year until the Blue Devils showed up at the same site. So other than that, we were doing pretty good. But I mean, the core got along great. It was my first year in Vanguard. I just finished 3 seasons with Kingsman, being down in the lower echelons of 33rd place. Now all of a sudden second and first. And heck, now I'm starting off the show being a lead soprano bugle and meeting all these great people. I remember the first time I walked into the horn line room, the drum major, Tim Andrews, picked me up at the airport, walked me in, and I just started shaking. My knees were shaking, man. I was like, wow, I'm in the Vanguard Corps Hall. This is so cool. And this corps just worked. It worked. And, you know, think about all the things that in 85, super vets, right?
Yeah.
You had guys been in 7-8 years.
Yeah.
And a phenomenal 85 show. And then all of a sudden, 86, we're coming in, and Gail says, we're going to be opening up the GE store and throwing that out on the field with all these costumes and props and ideas and storytelling further. And it was like the Corps going, okay, we're going to do it. And we worked our butts off. And I think really the end result is what you saw just there. And anybody that got to hear the show in person really got to enjoy a fantastic hornline ensemble sound pit. The color guard performances were just incredible.
You know, and a lot of people don't know, in 85, like Bob said, we had super vets. I mean, there were people that had been in that corps. Mike McWilliams, you know, Ron Abadam, a lot of those guys had been around the corps for years, going way back to all the way back when John marched, you know, so going really long time. And a lot of those guys aged out. And so in 86, you know, I was in my second year, and I was one of the more long-term people in the lead soprano line. It was the only other guys who'd marched before were, I think, Kevin Brooks, and Rich Armstrong had taken 85 off, so I didn't even know him. I didn't get a chance.
And Valenzuela.
And yeah, Rick Valenzuela had taken 85 off. You know, so 86 there was a lot of unknown, but there was a lot of rookies in the line too. There was a lot of rookies, and we were doing something real different.
And it was amazing watching the show, and a little frustrating that you just couldn't get on top of the Blue Devils. And it was, and yet you would look at the Blue Devils and go, that's one heck of a show too. But, you know, I could see watching the show that a new direction was being developed. The idea of all the pedestrian movement, I had never seen that before. And to watch that for the first time ever in my career, it opened up my mind to new things as well. So this show really established a lot of ideas that became commonplace down the line. This show really opened that door for a lot of new ways to present a production on the field. And we tend to forget that.
Well, and you know, this is the kind of stuff that I was doing when I marched, the pedestrian, the characterization, and by then it was commonplace, but it starts 10 years before.
But then?
And I think, you know, anyone who's watching the show for the first time in 2018, when you first start watching that show, it's almost like we're watching a WGI show. There's multiple focus things happening. You guys are really breaking barriers in terms of that. Let's really give what we can do in terms of individual characterization. But then not only that, but we've got so many people. So let's do all these different things and then talk about risk taking with all the different costumes. I mean, you would have people thinking like, are we going to lose GE because we're not all, we're all in the same
Well, it was
form, but we're
funny
wearing
'cause we
different
thought the one
clothes,
cap-
right?
At the end of the season, after getting our butts kicked by Blue Devils all year, we thought at least we were going to win the GE caption because we had all this GE stuff, and it didn't happen.
No.
Didn't happen.
Well, what are some of
The
your
show was
guys'
ahead of its time. Now that I watch it again,
what are some of your guys' favorite memories from that year, from that summer?
Well, we were the Wonder Quartet, Bob.
Yeah, Alan and I and Rich Armstrong and Brad were the Wonder Quartet that started off the show. That was always nice. Everybody else had to do their play acting. We were sort of chilling
Well, and you
behind
guys,
the castle.
it's not like you guys just started off the show with like a little soft thing there. You guys opened the show.
What was supposed to happen,
Open
as
the show.
As Dave Owens described it, what was supposed to happen, it was supposed to be a village scene with all this stuff going on. You know, all these different, the characterization, the role playing, all the contribution, and then we were the fanfare that, you know, the military, maybe, as you say, and we came in and said, hey, everybody, start the show. And that's what we were supposed to be. And I can remember, for me, after 85, you know, it's the same opening, but with, you know, 22, I think with 22 Sopranos, you know, having four of us play it. I can remember being like, this is not the same impact as having, you know, 22 Sopranos, you know, break the 50 year.
I don't know, Alan.
Bam, and play.
I tell you, man, you guys
At the
Alan,
time,
Bob,
at
you
the
guys
time,
start
is what I thought.
playing, it hits you. You know, you guys are playing.
It
Well, the nice thing was the
Fortissimo.
quartet started,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden the whole soprano line came in, and it
Yeah.
was like boom, and then boom.
Yeah.
So that was a nice impact.
It's taken me a lot of years to really appreciate the show and understand it better. And now I really like the show quite a bit. And at the time, you know, Dave was asking us to do a lot of things. The staff was asking us to do a lot of things that were really new and different, and the vanguard of the activity that corps weren't doing. Now you look at this and go, yeah, what's the big deal? They're running around in costumes and they're doing this, that. I mean, but that's not what it was in 1986.
no, it was so ahead of its time.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
Now I got a question.
Yeah,
question.
Yes, John.
And I know there's people out there that would like to kind of get a little insight into this. How did you change those costumes so fast?
It was magic.
Going from
It was magic.
well, it's magic. okay, I get that, you know, but
Well,
maybe
we
there's
had-
a few other little things you could tell us.
Yeah.
We, you know, first of all, we had some fantastic moms that sewed every one of those uniforms, and then every time they made a change, you know, they had to fit it for each
Yeah.
member. And then this wonderful invention that came out of the space program called Velcro, they put that in right in the seams of our pants, and there was a little taste of that in '85. And then some people are a little bit larger than other people and have a little more Velcro than other people, and had a couple problems getting their pants off in a couple shows. And Alan, do you want to talk about maybe one of those times?
No,
Okay.
so if you notice, okay, so in 85, you know, I can remember there was always that low brass to high brass. The Sopranos went into the tunnel, you know, ripped off, and for those that don't know, I mean, most people watching this are, you know, we're in the Corps and know this. We had Velcro down the outer seam, and so pants came right off. And I remember when Dave in 85, Dave once again explained this to us. You're just going to do this. And I remember the first time he did it, he had a pair of pants and he went like this, and it stopped. And we're like, we're just going to do what? And yeah, I remember being like, okay, this is, and I was a rookie at the time, just going, okay.
Foreshadowing of
And
things
so
to come,
85's
huh?
Yeah. Well, Sopranos went into the tunnel, and people don't know. It was pure chaos in that tunnel. I was up in the front, pants being thrown at you. It was just crazy. I was the first one in, and I remember Dave, even at the time, said, okay, you're going to stop. Everybody's going to march past you, and you're going to help assist people and put pants in the big garbage can. And there was a few occasions that Mr. James had some issues disrobing.
A few, too.
We're not counting rehearsal, but
Yeah, no, that's rehearsed.
the one, I forgot about the one until Bob reminded me the other day about the one at East LA College,
Mhm.
which I wish there was video of that, because that was awesome. And I really, really, really hate admitting that for an entire summer, I helped Bob take his pants off. It was really disturbing to me. And in fact, I still have a little bit of PTSD that I helped Bob. And I'm not kidding. I had a hook for my soprano. I would put it there so I could help people. And I went down and I'm like yanking on Bob's pants, because one of the things that people know is that if you don't get those pants off in one whip, you're
trouble.
You're screwed, because then you got to go like a seam ripper all the way down. And I remember helping Bob, and Bob, was a little bit panicky at the time. And I do remember the East LA college show, but Bob reminded me of that. His spot was gone, and I got his pants off, and then I was about ready to say, "Just wait here." And
wait.
he then we got his pants off, and he booked like lightning.
Low walk 3 to 5.
And went about 20 yards to catch up to his spot.
And I hit it right with da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da.
And
that was all good.
Yeah, I was just
that was all good.
Bye, Bob.
So the next day when Gail came up and said, "So is that going to happen again?" And I go, no, sir.
And trust me, Bob was not the only one who had pant issues.
Well, you guys, one of the things I've been doing recently on the show, and I feel like this is great, especially for our younger viewers, is to talk about Gail Royer. And as most people know by now, even though I was in the Corps for 5 years, I never got an opportunity to meet Gail Royer. And I just every person I meet that knew the man, I really want to try to get to know him more. So if you guys can talk a little bit about your memories of Gail, I would love to hear them.
I have a great Gail story.
Go ahead.
This one's classic. So we had just done the Orange Coast College show, and my parents had come up to watch it from San Diego. Orange Coast College being in Orange County, and so anyway, it was also it was the eve of my 21st birthday, and back then the rule was, I would have been able to march 87 a few years later when they changed the rule, but I was my age out. So anyway, my parents were there, and Gail had, we would always circle up on Gail, and Gail had then announced, we're going back up. Everybody's got tomorrow off, and then we'll resume the day after. I can't remember exactly if it was a Monday off, and we'll start up again on Tuesday or something like that. And so I then went to Gail, and I thought to myself, you know what? My parents are here. I can, the next day was my birthday. I could go down and celebrate my birthday with my parents and then fly back up or whatever. And so I went up to Mr. Royer, and I said, Mr. Royer, I still called him Mr. Royer, I couldn't call him Gail. And I said, my parents are here. Tomorrow's my birthday. I was wondering if it would be all right for me to go to San Diego and then fly up, tomorrow night. And he goes, he's got his styrofoam cup. And he goes in his styrofoam cup. He's sitting there like this. He goes, "How old are you?" And I said, "It's my 21st birthday." And he goes, "21? Here." And he and I was like, "Thank you."
Let's give a cheers to Gail Royer, everybody. Cheers to Gail.
Oh, vodka.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah.
Big cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, very much.
Find
And blackberry
something.
brandy.
Yeah.
Blackberry brandy.
Absolutely.
Or wild turkey.
I've heard this white cup story now more than once, and
It
obviously
wasn't coffee.
Kurt Lohmiller
He was your father. You never had. You always know he's there to take care of you. You also know, you knew that he was there to make sure everything was in the members' best interest. He was also the passion of the Corps. He was the emotion, and that all transcended down to the staff and to the members and out to the fans. And the legacy of Gail is what everything about the Vanguard is.